Well, Ben, I can trace myself back to, I think it was 1991, and it was just after the Gulf War, so that makes it a decade in the school.
So what exactly does your job involve?
Well, my job has changed over 10 years I've been in the school. I've seen a lot of change. At the moment, I'm head of sociology, and I teach history to GCSE and lower school history, which you probably remember. And I am also now the coordinator for the mentoring department.
And what would a typical day be for you?
Well, there is, I think that's the first thing you have to understand. There's no typical day. Every day is different. So a typical day doesn't exist, I think, in teaching. But an average day, a day which would start in the morning, I'd come down to the mentoring office. I'd speak to Miss Kritz about some of the students. I might have to make a few phone calls to other teachers. Sometimes I then have to rush off to the history office, check that all the history teachers are in, because one of my responsibilities is to give cover work out to anyone who is away. And then obviously we have lessons that go on all day, and that would be a normal day. But as you know, like today, there's an underground problem, and as a result, we've got a number of students away. So it's not typical by any means.
Do you remember your first day here?
My first day here, well, let me think back. I think my first day here was actually in July. I came in a little bit early so I could find my way around the school. And when I came in, I didn't know anyone, but I was shown to the Jewish Studies department. And I was introduced as Rabbi Hirschfield because I had a beard. And everyone in the corridor said, "Oh, hello, Rabbi, hello, Rabbi." And of course, I wasn't a rabbi. I was just a normal teacher who'd come along to meet people. I also think my first day here was scary as well in some ways, because I met two people who are great characters in the school. One of them has since left, and one of them is still someone I work with. That was Mrs. Glynn, who's the head of history, and the other one was Mrs. Wagerman. And Mrs. Wagerman was the previous head teacher, and she had a very imposing personality and a very sharp wit and sense of humour.
What are your favourite memories of JFS?
Oh, there's loads and loads of memories that I could think about. I think most of the memories are to do with events that have happened with students. Some of them very, very sad, some of them very funny, not always involving me. And a classic example would be a girl who I won't name, who managed to get out of doing her homework for 2 months by telling every teacher that her grandmother died. But we found out that if she'd actually had her grandmother die over those 2 months, we worked out she must have had about 14 grandmothers.
What do you enjoy about your job the most?
What do I enjoy about my job the most? I think the unpredictability. You come in, you don't know, you think you know what you're doing, in terms of you have an order for your day. You know you're teaching a history class on the 4th floor, but even then you may not be. You might find that you come in, the room's changed, and the lesson you planned because you wanted to show a video clip is now somewhere in a science lab, and you have to change your whole day.
So it's very, very difficult when that happens.
It is, but I think what a lot of teachers do is they try and improvise. So being a teacher is a lot about improvisation.
So what do you think you'll be missing the most about the Camden site?
I think I won't miss the building. I think I'll miss a lot of the atmosphere. I think the atmosphere in the Camden site is very special, and it's going to be a very different atmosphere in the new school. I think it's going to be much more clinical, which in some ways is good because we'll actually have clean buildings. I think you also got to remember that we've had a lot of changes. When I first arrived at JFS, I was on the 5th floor. The history department was on the 5th floor, and we moved down to where the current economics office is, and at that time the Jewish Studies office was where the Beis HaMedrash is, and of course you know that the Beis HaMedrash was created and the Jewish Studies office moved into what were the male and female toilets. So there's lots of changes there that I remember, but the new building certainly will be something different.
So are you looking forward to the new technology at the new school and how everything's going to be?
I am, but I suppose like all teachers, I missed out on having a computer science education at school. So I have a few nerves about whether things will go right when we get this new technology. So if I push the wrong button, hopefully the whole school won't short circuit and everyone will be left in darkness.
What are you looking forward to most about moving?
Am I looking forward most? Well, I'm not looking forward to the actual move, because moving for anyone in life is a tremendously stressful sort of experience. I think I'm looking forward to a new atmosphere. In some ways, it's a bit like starting a new job. So I'm able to start a new job without actually leaving the place I'm working.
Thank you very much, Mr. Harris. I appreciate your time.
Hey, this is an interview with Mr. Harris. I'm Doran and this is Nick.
So, Mr. Harris, how long have you been working at JFS now?
I started in September 1986, so it's 15 years.
Okay. What does your job involve? Could you describe a typical day for us?
I don't have typical days. My job is I'm called Pastoral Deputy Head, which means I'm responsible for the welfare of the students in the school. Right? You may think that I don't appear to be doing very much for the welfare of the students in the school. I do all sorts of things. I see a lot of silly idiots here, obviously, as you know. I also spend quite a lot of time dealing with students who have different problems, different demands. Those students, for example, who need free school meals or help of that kind come to me. That's also means by welfare. Right? So I do all of those things. I'm also a great one of the honorary presidents of Room 17, as you know. I also teach. I teach English, right? And in addition to all of that, I also have responsibilities for certain departments in the school. So I'm also looking after French, art, PE, and ML.
Can you remember how you felt on your first day here? What was it like?
Well, yeah, I mean, I do remember. When I started here, I had the office downstairs, which is the counsellor's office,
Oh, yeah.
right? I don't know if you've ever been in there, but it's very small, very claustrophobic, very crowded. And I sat in my office and I thought to myself, now what? What do I do? Wait for people to come and see me, which is what I did, and people came to see me. The first day, you're year 9, aren't you, right? So
Yeah.
the first day of my job here, I had a queue of people outside there wanting to change their options.
And for the GCSE.
The GCSEs were, yeah, right. Only now I stopped all that nonsense because I do it in the summer term, not whenever it starts back. So that was my first day. I didn't move out of my office for 2 days because all these people wanting to do history or geography or whatever it was. So I remember that quite clearly. And I remember the building being very big and not knowing what. So what I did was I walked around the building and I went down all the corridors to see what was at the end of them.
Did you know anyone in the job like before? Any friends or other working here?
Did I know anybody in the job? No, I don't think I did. What I did know was students. I'll tell you something, because I'll tell you. The first lesson I taught here was, I think, a year 9 class, I think they were then. And they were in a room up here, and they were lining up ready, and one of the girls who was in the queue lives near me. And I went to the classroom and I thought, look, she's in this class. I thought to myself, I bet she sits with all the Jewish kids. And it was only when the kids went in the class I realised they were all Jewish kids, because of course I taught at other schools, but this was the first time I taught in a Jewish school. And the other thing, which primary school did you go to?
Sinai.
Right, so you know, right. Well, you know Mr. Band?
Yeah.
Did you know Mr. Band?
I'm not sure if I was there at the time, but I've heard of him. I don't think I was there.
Well, my son was at Sinai with Mr. Band. And I was doing security duty the day after I got the job here. And I went to see Mr. Band and I said, I'm going to JFS. And he said, it's about time you worked in a Jewish school. And I said, schools are schools, kids are kids, what difference, Jewish, non-Jewish, Muslim, Catholic, who cares? And it was then when I came here I realised on the Friday when a number of people who you won't know, you know Rabbi Lewis, you know Rabbi Camp, and various other people put their head round my office door and said, Shabbat Shalom. That doesn't happen in non-Jewish schools. So that was quite interesting.
Yeah, because I mean, I've got friends who've had bar mitzvahs in Camden children, and I sometimes see you there with Camden children.
Well, that's the problem, is that in my street, I think there are 3 families who send their kids to the school.
Do you have any favourable memories of JFS of your time here in Camden?
Yes, well, it depends what you mean.
Things you've enjoyed doing here and experiences you've had that you haven't forgotten about?
Yeah, the experiences I've had, the most memorable experience I had actually didn't take place here. I've been to Poland 4 times, and one of the most memorable experiences I had in the school was actually not in the schools, it was in Poland. I was going to Poland for the first time. Also, there was another experience I'll always remember. The year of the Gulf War. You know about the Gulf War? And Mrs. Wagingham was the head of the school at the time. And a group went to Israel. We didn't go to Yemeni then, we went to another place called Gilbert, Washington. And the group went to Gilbert, Washington, and there was this whole hoo-ha about the Gulf War. So she brought them all home again. And told the second group they weren't going to go because of the Gulf War. Anyway, the Gulf War took place, finished, ended. And what she did was she sent both groups back. Together. They went for 3 months instead of 5 months, and they went back. And Mr. Winkworth and I went to get them, to pick them back, to bring them back to England. Mr. Winkworth's year group, and I remember that because there were a lot of kids and they had a great experience. And that was the other things I remember is sort of idiot behaviour by silly idiots around the school.
And what do you enjoy most about your job?
Oh, that would be telling. You'd probably say I enjoy Route 17. But, I enjoy watching young people change. For the better, I might say. For the better.
And more growing up. And
Yeah. It's interesting to see people 3 years later. And mind you, I've just seen a girl 3 years later. I'm not altogether happy with what I've seen. I preferred her 3 years ago, actually. But I like watching young people change, get better, improve, do better, achieve examination successes.
Yeah, JFS does that too.
It's interesting because I'm still in contact with a few of my ex-students, who are mainly sixth formers. I taught in the sixth form, and one girl I taught in year 8 and year 11 as well. And because of the wonders of email, so it's easy to contact people, and it's very interesting to talk to them again. I had an email from a girl who I taught in when I was 6, so she would have been 16 then, and she's now finishing her first year, actually a year or so. She's about 20 or not. So it's interesting to do that, get people in touch. I like it.
Catch up on things.
Yeah.
And what will you miss most about the Camden site?
Nothing. I suppose it's got a certain charm. It's. I suppose it's kind of part of you in it, really. And I've only been.
15 years.
Well, I've only been here for 15 years. I'm a novice compared to Mr. Partridge. I built the school round him. The people who've been Mr. Robin, Mr. Partridge, Mr. Caligera, Mr. Miller, both Mr. Millers, a lot of these people, Mr. Winkworth, Mr. Willis, these people have been here for a lot longer than me. I'm a relative newcomer. So I suppose that, I'll miss the building. I won't miss driving here in the morning. That I won't miss.
Because Kenton is really
That's right.
good.
I've got it's 5 minutes from my house. But I won't miss sitting in traffic 3 quarters.
So, and what are you most looking forward to about the new school?
Not having to sit in traffic for 3 quarters.
It was just convenient to get there.
It's convenient to get there, yeah. And it's going to be new, and it's going to be exciting. The whole business of changing the school and moving the school. Are we going to have JFS? Are we going to just pick up the school and call it JFS and stick it somewhere else? Or is it going to be different?
Because I've still got a brother who goes to Sinai.
Right.
My mum was telling me it looks really good, the building. They've like built the
You
school.
can see it over the,
you can see it
over the wall.
Mm.
You see, excuse me, this is what part of the wall is like. Hello. Hello. Yeah. I can't speak to them every time. I've got members of staff. If you'd like to ask them to wait, I can fit them in later. The police want to see me. I wonder why.
Is there anything else you would like to say?
Yeah, I was going to say about the school is that for the first time the school is going to move into a Jewish community. Here there's no Jewish community. And that's interesting because we're going to be working amongst other Jews. So are we just going to take JFS and stick it somewhere else and call it JFS and Weizmann and Zangler and all the rest of it? Or are we going to make any difference? Are we going to change anything? I think that's quite interesting, quite exciting.
Strengthen our Judaism, maybe.
Well, you've got, there's Kempton Shul up the road, there's Kingsbury Shul down the road, and there's Wembley Shul over the back, and there's lots of things. And you're going to have Jews mooching around. See, one of the problems here, everybody says, we have to have security because we get beaten up.
Yeah.
And maybe get beaten up in Kempton as well, but you're in a Jewish community, and it's quite exciting. I'm looking forward to all those changes.
Yeah, I know what you mean about the beat stuff, but that happens it's not that happens all the time, really.
Well, yeah, maybe, but the whole thing of going into a new school, can actually watch because I drive past every day, of course. And seeing it being built, that's all quite exciting. It's going to be brand new.
Yeah, that's the good thing about it, that will be new.
The fresh start.
New facilities in it.
And the first graffiti that I find, bringing the death penalty.
Hunting down.
They'll be glad of room 17 by the time.
Thank you very much for giving up your time.
My pleasure. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
And there's the letter.
That's a letter. What's this? A present? There's the money in it.
The bride.
It's just a thank
Well,
you.
thank you. Thank you. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Dear Israel, thank you for giving up your time for us to interview.
You're welcome.
First question. How long have you worked at JFS for?
Right, Ben. I came at the beginning of a summer term. I think it's 11 years ago, something like that. But I didn't come in September. I came at the beginning of the summer term.
Second question. What does your job involve? Describe a typical day for us, please.
I think you know what a typical day is because you've been in the office often enough. A typical day. We usually get to the office about 8 o'clock, or into school by 8 o'clock, and I first of all dump my stuff and go and get a cup of tea. That is essential. And then from 8 o'clock onwards, it's time to get phone calls. A lot of parents will phone in at that time, make phone calls, sort out any business of the day that needs to be given to tutors, arrange what children are going. Please excuse me, I'll say I'm not available. Hello? Hello, I'm actually in the middle of an interview now. Okay, thank you, bye. Sorry about that. That gives you an example of a typical day because everything is interrupted by phone calls. The tutors collect the registers and then there's registration where we see a lot of children, as you will know. There might be assembly. And then the rest of the day is spent teaching history, supervising lunch most days, and then also if I'm not teaching, again more phone calls, meeting parents and things like that.
The third question. Can you remember how you felt on the first day here? And what was it like?
On my first day here, I was very nervous. I was incredibly nervous. You think you're not when you get to my age, but you are. And I was frightened of getting lost, and I did get lost. I was going into these classes, and I think I was their third history teacher, because I was taking them in the summer term. And some of them were, they were lovely, but I kept getting lost around the building and turning up late, because I was just hadn't a clue where the rooms were. And on one occasion I was walking along a corridor getting very panicky because I was halfway through a lesson, and these two students came up to me and said, are you Miss Flood? And I said, yes. And they said, you're meant to be teaching us, and they'd been sent out to try and find me. I was 20 minutes late. But it's like anything, after the first day, you then get your sense of where you are and what you're doing and everything like that.
Did the teachers help you then?
Oh yeah, a lot, yes, a lot. I work with very nice people.
The fourth question is, what are your favourite memories of your time at JFS so far?
Favourite memories. I can't think, there's no specific incidents. Nice memories of school trips, taking groups out, and all the trips working very, very well. Things like the Belgium trip, the Imperial War Museum. We used to take Year 7s out many years ago, and they were always good fun. I also have very good memories of social occasions with the people I work with, and also very good memories of the school productions, things like Guys and Dolls and Return to the Forbidden Planet, and things like that. And good memories of Year 7s when they used to put performances in assembly. They used to be hilarious, really, really funny, very lovely to see.
So you enjoy coming and seeing Year 7s go every single year then?
Well, it is nice when you look at the Year 7s now, and I said to you way back in last September, the year will go very quickly, it'll be over before you know it, and you're all saying to me now, yes it has. And it is very nice to see the fact that you all come in so young and so nervous, and now you're older, you're much more confident, and you have forgotten that you were ever worried and nervous about coping with a big school.
It's the first term, isn't it?
Well, yeah, well it is, it's the first few weeks of the first term, but you do get through it, don't you? So, that's it, I think.
Yeah. What do you enjoy the most about your job?
What do I enjoy most about the job? Two things. I like the history, and I like seeing Year 7s learning how to cope with a very different school environment than compared to their primary schools. When you see them becoming much more confident, making the friends they thought they wouldn't make, and gaining a lot of independence. I like that. I also the teaching the history I love.
Okay, the sixth question and my final one. What will you miss most about the Camden site?
What will I miss most about the Camden site? A, it's very easy for me to get to, which is lovely. I can get to school by car in about 7 or 8 minutes. And you remember when I was in plaster, when I fractured my wrist? Well, I used to walk home, and it wouldn't take me long at all. And Mrs. Berg, who very kindly used to pick me up in the morning when she was on the school trip, I used to, when she was on the school trip in Strasbourg, I used to walk to school then. So I like the fact that it's very easy for me to get to, and I like the fact it's also very accessible to get into town and to go to other places in London.
Okay, and what are you looking forward to about the new school?
Oh, I know that. Lots of greenery. I like to have lots of grass and trees around us, and there'll be lots of space for you all to run around and go crazy. I'm looking forward to nice wide corridors so nobody gets jam-packed and crushed. You know what that's like, don't you? And I'm looking forward to decent toilets for all the students. Because I know all the toilets in this building, boys as well as girls, and I know how disgusting they all are, aren't they? Yeah. And so I'm looking forward to everybody having plenty of toilets and them being nice and bright and clean and airy. I thought long and hard about that one. But it comes down to the basics.
Well, I thank you very much for taking time out of your day for letting us interview you in this film.
You're very welcome. I think it's a brilliant idea what you're doing. I look forward to seeing the final film. Is it all going to go on one big film?
Yeah.
Going to be edited and
We're
cut
going to
in?
school, having
And
the library.
And it might go on the internet.
Oh, goodness me, that's a bit scary.
No,
It's been a real pleasure.
It's great to have you here, sir.
Nice to be here.
Question. This is my first question.
Okay.
How long have you worked at JFS?
I worked at JFS for 10 years. I joined in 1992, so it'll be my 10th year, starting in September.
Okay, what does your job involve? And describe a typical day for us.
Okay, well obviously I've got 2 jobs on mine. I'm Deputy Head of Year and I'm also a Geography teacher. I arrive at school between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning. I go upstairs, make coffee and have a croissant, and then do marking or lesson preparation for the day. I come down to the office about 8:15 in the morning, and as you know, there's people here waiting for key part or temporary diary or having forgotten PE kit, all that sort of things, or with bad notes and good notes from the day before. That goes on until 9:10. Sometimes there's assemblies, sometimes I go to tutor base to see tutors, sometimes I check registers. 9:10 I then start my teaching day, which this year involves 2 7-period days, so I teach all day on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I have 6 periods free during the week. Normally I finish between 3:30 and 3:45, depending on who I'm teaching, like every other teacher. And I normally try and get home quite early these days because I've got 2 young children. I like to see them before they have a bath. I do 2 lunch duties, which aren't particularly enjoyable because of all the noise in the lunch hall. And next year I think that I'm going to be running one of the football teams that Mr. Armstrong's organising. Okay.
Thank you. The third question is, can you remember how you felt on your first day here? What was it like?
I think when I saw this question I struggled to try and remember what it was like on the very first day. I remember being really nervous. I was living in a friend's flat a long way away from the school, so a long journey in. I struggled to remember what it was like. The school was very different then. The staff room was really small. The staff were really friendly. I think what I felt like was nervous but excited.
Did you get on with the staff really well the first day?
They were very friendly. There was some teachers that you won't know because they've left now, but they were very, very friendly to me the first day, yeah.
What are your favourite memories of your time at JFS so far?
Okay, my first favourite memory is my tutor group. They left last year and have gone off to Israel or other parts of the world. I got an email from one of them yesterday from Australia, and she's bumped into another one of the tutor group. So that's really nice, because I knew them from year 7 right through to now, them being 18 and 19. I made a lot of friends here at JFS. I've also met the person that I live with, Miss Glossop, and we've had 2 children, so that's probably one of my favourite memories. Field trips, we do a lot of field trips with geography, and one of my favourite memories, or lots of my favourite memories, are from taking 6th formers up to the Lake District. We went this year in February, and there was about a foot of snow on the ground for the first day, and then brilliant sunshine for 3 days. They're really good days.
Okay. Fifth question is, what do you enjoy most about your job?
Okay. That's similar to the question you just asked me. I really like contact with the students. That's what I like about the Year 7 job. The new students coming in, all the enthusiasm that new students have. I like to see those students growing up and then leaving. Not that I like them to leave. But, field trips as well. I really enjoy field trips. But just a day-to-day contact with hundreds and hundreds of different people.
You still keep in contact with the Year 7s that have been now in Year 10?
Yeah, because obviously, probably myself and Miss Flood know more students than most other teachers in the school, because we get contact with them all when they come in, and obviously then I teach them, some of them later on. So yeah, I definitely still know names of people, even if they don't teach them in Year 10, interested in what they do. Yeah.
Okay, what will you miss about the Camden site?
Okay, I don't know whether you've noticed this, but from the 5th floor, you can see the London Eye from the geography rooms, and I think the biggest thing I'll miss about this site is the fact that it's in almost central London. It's in what geographers call the inner city, and I really like teaching here. I've not taught anywhere else in London, but one of the attractions for this, for me, was the fact that it is in central London, and the fact that it's quite exciting when you come to Camden, and the view. I really like that. Also, I think you know that I cycle to work, and it takes me about 15 minutes to get to work, and it always takes me 15 minutes depending on how tired I am, but I can guarantee it takes me 15 minutes. I think in London I'm really lucky to be able to get to my place of work within 15 minutes, and that's not going to be the same at the new school. Not for me, it's not. It's probably, it took me about an hour to cycle there.
And the last final question is, what are you most looking forward to about the new school?
Okay, at new school, ICT, Information Communication Technology, is going to be brilliant. I'm really looking forward to that. I think there's going to be some things that are just going to be absolutely amazing. Miss Robbins was saying yesterday there's going to be an interactive console in the foyer where you can look back at the roles of people who've been here in the past. I think that sort of thing's going to be brilliant. PE, I'm really looking forward to the facilities, both for the students and also for the staff. I can see
But it's not going to be a swimming pool.
There's not going to be a swimming pool, and that's a shame. Yeah, that's a real shame. I can see the staff starting to find a side team. I'm also looking forward to it as an opportunity to clear my desk, because I've had so much rubbish that's collected over the last 10 years. It's going to be great to have a clear out before we go.
Okay, thank you very much for taking time out of your day, Mr. Boardman, and letting me, Ben Lavender and Josh Tiano interview you.
Thank you, I enjoyed it. Thanks.
Interview with Mr. Newman by Ben DeYoung and Leo Horan. Right, so how long have you worked at JFS?
16 years.
16 years. What does your job involve?
Teaching sport and business studies.
Can you describe a typical day for us, please?
I certainly can. In the mornings I'll come in, I arrive at about 7 o'clock. I have a cup of coffee with Mr. Windworth and see any of my intermediate business students that are having problems. From there I will go to registration with 6th form, and from registration I'll normally go to lesson 1, and that will often be PE.
Right. And so you've got the whole day teaching for
No, about half my day is spent teaching business, the other half is spent teaching PE. Some of my day is now spent organising work placements for students in Year 10 and in Year 12.
How did you feel on your first day at JFS?
My first day at JFS I felt apprehensive, but excited, because it's a great school for the Jewish children, and I felt at home here.
And you've been enjoying teaching here?
Absolutely.
And so what are your favourite memories?
My favourite memories is on my first day I was going up the angel staircase when the head stopped me, and she told me off until she realised that I wasn't actually a student but was a teacher, and obviously looked so young in those days that she couldn't tell the difference.
So you're pleased. What do you enjoy most about your job?
I enjoy most about my job the camaraderie of my colleagues and the satisfaction at times of getting some students through exams that a lot of people felt would never achieve any exams at all.
What do you miss most about the Camden site?
What I miss most about the Camden site would be absolutely nothing.
So you don't think it's a very good site?
Certainly not for a lot of the work that I do, but I will have fond memories because I think that even though it's a very difficult place to work at times, it's been my home or my second home for the last 16 years.
So you're saying like in your subject, PE equipment isn't so good at this point?
PE equipment is not bad, it's just the other facilities, i.e. space, lack of grass, lack of a decent sports hall, meant that it's always been quite a difficult thing to teach national curriculum to students.
And what are you most looking forward to about the new school?
Space.
So you can make football.
Make a lot of things in space, cricket pitches, football pitches, running tracks, throw proper javelins, play proper tennis on proper tennis courts that I don't have to put up and take down every lesson. Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
And what sport do you specialise in?
Table tennis and tennis.
And what made you decide to teach PE?
I was bored of selling houses.
Thank you very much for doing this interview.
It's a pleasure.
The